Hey, what's going on? Previous video cut out. I think there's something to do with when it runs over a certain amount of time, paused or not, it tends to cut out. So I think that was the issue that I suffered in my first live trade video. But this is carrying on. So this is part two. It's 8th of the 12th, 2021. I'll go over two positions I took again, carrying on from my last video. So as you can see here, we're still currently trading within this M15 range here. So this high to this low and all this hit in between, this range, right? It's all internal structure. So I always be wary of once we're in a range or we're trading within a range. I always like to try play the edges because anything in the middle usually gets spanked. But going over my reasoning and narrative behind my shorts was because, as you can see here, price came down, we mitigated this this demand area here. We mitigate that demand. We get a bullish change of character on the M15, indicating demand has taken control, or bullish order flow is intact. As you can see, that quickly changes as when price taps this extreme of this current range supply. We start to trade lower correctively. And then when price comes back to mitigate this extreme of this change of character, what you can anticipate if we were to go long, that there should be enough buy orders resting in this low here, and there should be no issues for price to run out supply. But as you can see, price comes up, we have a little minor flip within here, and then price retraces upon reaction to supply. Price retraces, so this is the buy side of the curve, sell side of the curve. And we have a reaction to demand, but a failure to create, and then supply takes control. And the reasoning behind me liking this POI was because we swept the liquidity here and that aggressive push down. I think we took out that low by 1 pip, but that is enough for me to determine that supply is in control, because if there was enough buy orders within here, that low should be protected. So when price correctively retraced to this POI, so the buy side of the curve, sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve, we had an M15 change of character. So this low took out this high, as you can see here indicated. We swept structural liquidity here and all this inducement here. And we had a M15 change of character, indicating that supply has taken control, and then an aggressive sell-off. So when price came back down to this low, we took out this M15 low here and we mitigated. I think it was the H4 supply zone right on the wick here. So the high of that 279, the low of that 276. So right on it by a couple of pipettes. So when we took out this M15 low, although we did not trade and close below it, we just wicked it. That's still enough for me to determine and understand that supply is well and truly in control. And it's pretty evident, as you can see on the chart here. Very easy sells within here. But the last trade I took was on the 2nd or the 1st of December, and today is now the 8th. So 7 days of no trading, and that's completely fine because I'll rather wait for the ideal setup so it fit my plan rather than just shoot in the wind, so to speak. So when price came up to this POI here that I had marked, it's a clear and evident flip. I actually had this one marked here because this was the reaction to demand and then the failed follow through. But then price actually swept this high, but didn't trade above this extreme, right? So this internal structure high was protected. We swept structural liquidity, so that's something that I always look for when entering a trade or deriving a narrative. So my narrative is currently bearish and shorts from this area. As soon as we swept that structural liquidity and this level of inducement here, we got an M15 change of character, as you can see here. So this low took out this high. So this low took out this high. So we swept that here. Price came down. We mitigated this demand, came back up, and then traded through. And then on the 5 minute, it's even cleaner. So that's the demand range. Yeah, you can use this last sell to bar candle, but if you're going through fractals, this would be the whole demand range here, from the highest point to the lowest point. So that's the demand range. Price came back, mitigated that supply zone after sweeping structural liquidity. So that's the fuel it needed. And price came down, retraced. If there were enough buy orders resting in this demand area here, price should run out that supply. But as you can see here, supply took control and then traded through. So that was enough confirmation for me to take shorts from that area. And I took it from, I think it's the M3. Yeah, the M3 buy to sell here, as you can see. So I entered a short position here and I took partials at this low and I set my stop loss to BE. But as you can see, price came up, knocked me out at BE. It's unfortunate, but it happens. I'm not too phased about that because 9 times out of 10, they usually just run down. That's not actual accurate statistic, but more times than not, I should say, when it wants to go, it will go. So I'm all right taking a BE there, but then I still had my narrative for shorts, right? So I didn't just close the charts then. I waited for the reaction from this supply zone because it's still a valid supply because it did mitigate this supply. So this flip, it swept this structural liquidity. And then when price came up, we failed to trade above that. So supply was intact. And this is what I can see with the wicks, as pointed out in part 1. Price comes up, comes down with this wick, right? We trade above, creating minor demand, right? This is minor demand. We come back down, we test that demand. We fail to create a new high and we start just accumulating right here. And then we close below this area, this one here. So we aggressively trade below that. But as soon as price, with this bearish engulfing, as soon as price closed or traded below this initial reaction, I set my limit straight away. So I didn't set it when I was down here. That is enough for me. That's enough confirmation for me that supply is in control because that is the reaction to demand where the buy orders should be, right? That should be sustained within this area and it should push price higher. But it discontinued to go higher and supply took control. So there was enough sell orders in the market to push price lower. So that's when I set my limit at this open of the buy to sell. This is another thing going on with my trade journal video. Always look for the engulfings, right? This one here, that buy to sell gets engulfed by that bearish candle. And I'm pretty sure the same goes for this one here. Probably clean on the 4 minute. You can't argue this one. It's definitely getting engulfed, but obviously that wick above. So just always keep in mind of this. Always keep in mind of the engulfing candles. So I took partials at this low again, and I just took partials at that low here. Where did I do it? So that's a 2.85. I did close a bit, and then it knocked me out of BE, and that's running at 4. That was that. The low of that was 4.6R. As you can see, price is starting to make its way back up. Couldn't give a damn if it hits me at BE. I'm pretty happy with my positions. As you can see here, this is where you can tell that I'm not bullshitting. So I will do it on my MT5, I should say. So this is my, that was my area. As you can see, minimal drawdown, not even a pip. But then price comes up and knocks me out of BE. And as you can see here, minimal drawdown, not even a pip. And then we're still currently in that trade at the moment. I still believe that we are going short. This could knock me out of BE, which it definitely looks like it's going to, but I'm happy because that's where I took my partials. And I couldn't give a damn. You're going to probably see this knock me out now. And that's totally all right. But yeah, as you can see here, I partialed at this low here. And then I partialed at that low there. Securing profits is key in my opinion. I'm quite risk adverse and conservative type of trader. Some people would just hold full position and hope for the Hail Mary, but I prefer just locking in partials or profit. And there you go, knocked me out of BE, and that's sweet. No problems there. And yeah, I'm quite conservative, so I'll happily take partials wherever, and obviously valid areas, and yeah, just compound that. But now that we've been tagged out of this trade, so it somewhat looks like it's reacted off this flip here. So this is supply, right? Just go the whole candle. That's supply. That's the flip. So it looks like it's reacted off that. So we could be seeing high prices. And if that's the case, then we won't be looking for long. Pretty happy with how it's gone this evening. But if anything, I'd be looking for shorts from this extreme if price comes up to there, because we're still currently bearish on the M15. We're bearish on the H4. So structure is aligned. Order flow looks like it's going to switch, but order flow here is bearish. Structure is bearish on the M15. And then on the H4 here, structure is bearish. So everything is signaling shorts. So there's no need to be buying. But it looks like it may change now. But I'm alright because I've locked in profits and that's a win for me today. So hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies for the cutout of the last one, but it is what it is. And cheers.